see the academic programming across our different sites at the organization, and specifically the CDL Toronto programming and the different offerings that we provide to our Rotman students. So thanks very much for joining us today. I will share a bit about the program itself, about the courses that we offer to our morning, evening MBA students, as well as have the opportunity to do a little bit of a fireside chat with two former CDL students from the morning evening program. Yeah, let's get started there then. So first things first, just want to share a bit about the mission of CDL. So we are a mission-oriented organization, and we have had the same mission since we were founded in 2012, which is essentially to enhance the commercialization of science for the betterment of humankind. So why are we trying to do this? We're doing this because we believe that there is incredible research in science and innovation going on in the world that oftentimes lives within universities or with technical individuals who are excited about what they are developing, but it may not translate into it being commercialized. So if these innovations live and die in technical institutions or in individuals' minds, academic papers, they don't have the opportunity to make the world a better place. So CDL plays a role to speed up this process of commercializing science and technology to make people's lives better. And the way we do this is by helping build massively scalable science and technology-based businesses. So where did all this come from? Our founder, Professor Ajay Gawal, his research as an academic, commercialization of university-based science. Now, about 12 years ago, he looked at Canada and the world more broadly and recognized that there is great science happening all over the world and in Canadian universities. Yet, commercialization seems to only take place in a few select places in the world, specifically the Silicon Valley and few other pockets. So the distribution of ideas and commercialization did not line up. So to understand the thesis behind CDL, it is useful to start by thinking about the map of the world, like you see right here. If you want to look at Earth from outer space, what you would look at was the geographical distribution of capital applied to early stage science and tech-based companies. And what you would see is a very big spike over Northern California and many little bumps in other places. But if you took the same vantage point and instead you were looking at the geographical distribution of scientific breakthroughs, the map would look very different. So there would be bumps all over the world in places like Boston, New York, Montreal, Toronto, London, and so on. So the puzzle here is, why are all those maps different? So he positioned that there are barriers that are preventing great ideas from turning into products and services and companies that create prosperity and make people's lives better. So CDL was created to help break down those barriers. And essentially, what are those barriers? It's not the lack of ideas, capital, or effort that prevent early stage ventures from translating regional excellence into innovation. And so if it is not ideas, effort, or capital, what is it then? So what we believe the primary reason is a failure in the market for high quality business judgment. So that is what CDL is here to solve. What is judgment? Knowledge of what an entrepreneur should prioritize in order to de-risk their business, and who usually has it? It's people with best judgment who are best at picking from the list, who have done it before. So people who have gone through an idea to build a prototype all the way to successfully exiting their own ventures. So who scaled and operated their own ventures. And where can you buy this judgment? For now, really nowhere. So that's the market failure. And there's no judgment firms, like there are law firms selling advice by the hour. So what we have essentially done is we have created this marketplace for judgment. The program is intended to remove friction and facilitate this information exchange that allows these sellers, which is the mentors on the supply side, to the buyers, which are the founders on the demand side of the market, ideas and people that don't have the experience and knowledge, they get to meet individuals who are experienced entrepreneurs that have built and acquired this market for judgment. Now, how do we do this? This thesis informed the design and mechanics of our program, and our program is 9 months long, but consists of 5 one-day objective setting sessions. So what you see on the screen here is sort of the timeline for this year's cohort, and we run the full day CDL sessions spaced out typically around 8-week intervals that are attended by startups in the program that have been admitted in, and also a CDL mentors who are an elite group of successful technology entrepreneurs and investors, the people with judgment. Now, as you see here, this is just a snippet of when we were back in person, what a CDL session would look like. This is at the Rotman school. You'll notice like the mentors on one side are providing advice to startup founders. On the other side, these are small group meetings where startup founders get to meet one-on-one with experts in their industry. Then we go into a large room discussion, and which is essentially where a much larger group of mentors come together and provide their critique on the venture objectives that have been set by mentors. So they're not just receiving feedback from one mentor with anecdotal evidence based on what worked in their specific experience, but there are also opportunities here for other mentors to hold one another accountable for the advice that they give and challenge and build on one other's advice. These are just examples of some of the mentors that are in the program. So you'll notice on the very left here, Patrick Pichette. He was the former CFO of Google, and he also on the board chair at Twitter. You'll notice here the third person on this list, Barney Pell. He led an 85-person team at NASA that flew the first AI in deep space. He's also an active angel investor. Then we have Elizabeth Cayley, who was previously the CEO of Meta, which was sold to the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative. And she is now co-CEO and co-founder of a new company called Poppy. Fun fact, Elizabeth is actually a Rotman alum. She went through the GEMBA program here at the University of Toronto. And then we have Eva Lau here. So her and her husband started Wattpad, which was recently acquired for more than $600 million. And now she's a founder and general partner of Two Small Fish, a venture fund in Canada. These are just examples of the different sites that we operate here across CDL. We started off in Toronto and we have grown exponentially, and now we have sites in 5 sites in Canada, 3 in the US, and 2 in Europe. And of course, in terms of our success so far, our startups have raised over 13.1 billion. They've created 13.1 billion equity value creation, and we've had, like I said, 10 sites globally. And just last year, we had over 500 companies participate in the CDL program across our various different streams that we offer at our different sites. And just at Toronto itself, we run 9 different streams. So in terms of some of the examples that have gone through our program, Ada, you might have heard a bit about it in the news recently. It's raised over 130 million capital. Xanadu, which is a quantum focused company, they also have raised over 145 million. And then Benchsai, a Rotman grad, actually became CEO of Benchsai after he completed his course at CDL. and they have gone on to raise over 48 million. So here, these are just some of the examples of the impact that the ventures have had, and Ben Size, an example of a venture where a student has played a pivotal role in shaping their business and eventually joining them full time. So talking about students, I want to share a bit about where you fit into the picture, and where you would essentially play a role in this universe of the Creative Destruction Lab. Our mission overall, of course, is commercializing deep science technology. But in addition to that, we also want to revolutionize management education in the areas of innovation and entrepreneurship. And you'll notice here that typically university courses are based on case-based learning, and the model has sort of been a hallmark for business education. However, there are no sort of real decisions being made in real time, and it's sort of a retroactive approach to learning. So what makes CDL courses different is that we are moving away from the simulation case-based model, and how entrepreneurship is typically taught at business schools, to a live case model. We want to make it real for our students. If we didn't have CDL and we were teaching a course on entrepreneurship strategy, we'd use tools, of course, such as cases, to bring entrepreneurship learning to life. However, because we have CDL, we don't need to do that. And instead, we can do things like this. So firstly, the beauty of our CDL advanced course, which I'll talk about in a bit, is that every student is matched with an actual CDL venture in the program. And students get to apply the principles of entrepreneurship strategy to a real technology startup. So essentially, you're getting to experience the highs and lows of a startup, working on key development projects for CDL ventures for your class credit. And you essentially get to work with your venture in these 8-week sprints between CDL sessions as well, to help them meet their objectives in the program. And of course, you also get to watch and learn from experienced mentors discussing and advising your venture specifically that you're matched with. Now, just a quick rundown of the 2 courses we currently offer. So CDL Introduction course, which was a course that was designed to be online pre-pandemic, and it essentially provides the framework for developing entrepreneurship strategy. Students now have the option to choose between an introduction to artificial intelligence in the real business world, or choose a track to learn a bit about entrepreneurship in life sciences. Just to note that this course is a prerequisite for those who want to take the advanced course, and typically top students from this course are accepted into the advanced. And for specialized programs like yourselves, we offer this course in the 2nd year for the ME MBA students, specifically in the spring term, which is Jan to April, for this specific cohort. And then at CDL Advanced is where you essentially get paired with a startup, and selection into this course is quite competitive. Students get to study the commercialization of deep science through close interactions with these real ventures and potential investors and mentors. Now, this course follows the same timeline, or approximately the same timeline, as the CDL program itself. So you essentially get to experience the process from the application phase of the ventures all the way to graduation. And students work on various dynamic projects. Now, our expectations in this course are very high. This is an advanced course, so we are looking to prepare you for a job in the global technology ecosystem, whether that's, working with a startup, or joining the startup you were paired with, or joining a venture capital firm, incubator, or, just working as an entrepreneur in a larger corporate setting. We would aim that, our our excellent students we would recommend them to ventures or mentors in a world-class network. And we do get a lot of requests because a lot of our mentor base sees value in the students that go through the rigorous CDL courses. And in fact, we do get a lot of requests to share job opportunities with the CDL community. Now, this is just an example of a student similar to Liran from Bensai, who essentially joined her startup full-time after graduation. And she has a degree in history, ended up working with a quantum startup. And she put on many different hats and ended up supporting the CEO on many different projects throughout the course, and is now the co-founder and COO of the quantum venture that she was matched with in the program. So Rachel's example is just one of many. And students choose to take different paths after graduation. We actually have now, this is a great time to introduce two of our morning evening MBA students. So we have here with us today Sergey. So Sergey, if you could just say hi. So you pop up on the screen. Hi, good to see you. And Yash as well. So Yash, I see you there. Hi.
Hey, Malika.
Welcome. So just a quick note, so Sergey and Yash took the course last year, and they're recent alum of the morning evening MBA program. And Sergey, I believe you were matched with an AI startup in the AI stream, and Yash, you are with a quantum startup. So lots of great insights from you to share. We have about 12 minutes, and looking forward to hearing a bit more about your experiences taking both the courses and how that's impacted your career trajectory so far. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen so you can share a bit. Whoever wants to go first, feel free to unmute and share.
You want me to go first, okay?
Go for it.
Awesome. Hey, everyone. Welcome for this. We, as Malika mentioned, Sergey and I, we're part of the morning evening MBA cohort 2021. I was in the morning and Sergey in the evening. We did the CDL advanced course. We were matched with, I was with the quantum company. A really quick, small story about how my CDL experience was. So I first started CDL as a volunteer. And I think it's very crucial for all of you if you want to go someday become a CDL's advanced student, that volunteering for CDL activities like all these sessions that Malika pointed out would familiarize with how CDL functions. That's one. And it also gives you a framework to network with not only your CDL staff, whom you will be working very closely with during volunteering, but also if you get an opportunity with ventures and the CDL mentors as well. So I started my journey as a CDL volunteer. And then we did the CDL intro, top the one of the top people there, because the selection rate from CDL intro to advanced is very, very small. So to give you some numbers, 110 cohort morning evening MBA, and only 17 or 18 of them were selected into CDL advanced. So that tells you how much critical it is for you to, be part of all these activities, top your CDL intro, and also show your profile. Like you need to mention, you need to have that entrepreneurial spirit, basically. That's what CDL staff looks for in selection. So I was paired with a quantum company, and until recently, I was working with them full time. And then I got into a contract role at Scotiabank, where I implemented a couple of entrepreneurial strategy canvas tips from CDL Advanced. Now, today, January 17th, I was taken full-time, promoted to Senior Metadata Architect, and I'm leading the entire team because of those initiatives that I took forward and shaping it up. So I would say CDL has significant impact. It not only enhances your entrepreneurial skills, but when you are paid with the 8-month or 9-month program, you tend to do all of the activities a startup founder does, like customer discovery interviews, marketing material, content generation, sales calls. In certain cases, you also, if you're lucky, you go into the pitching for investment. You play multiple roles as a student too. So, and if you're lucky as Liran from Bensai, you can impress your co-founders, join the board, and you can play leadership roles, and success stories are everywhere. So I'll pause and I'll let Sergey take it away.
Thanks, Yash. Congrats on the promotion as well. Yeah, so this is a great opportunity to speak about CDL. So CDL was actually one of the main reasons I decided to do the Rotman MBA, and it was also one of the biggest value add that I got from the program when I graduated. So, my background is in consulting. So prior to and during Rotman, I was a consultant at an engineering design firm. I led Toronto economics and finance consulting practice. And going into my MBA, I was kind of evaluating, different career paths. I was considering going down like a strategy consulting path at a top tier firm, maybe entrepreneurship, starting something of my own, or joining a startup as a co-founder, or maybe going to some kind of tech development role in corporate tech. And so one of the things that was really cool about CDL was that it was incredibly valuable for all of those streams. And so, going into the course, I didn't have to commit to any particular career path, right? The CDL intro course was incredible in terms of theory. It's about entrepreneurial strategy, but entrepreneurial strategy is basically just a matter of, how do you make decisions under an enormous amount of uncertainty, right? So how do you take these incredibly hard business problems and break them down? How do you form hypotheses, right? Identify the assumptions that need to be tested, how do you test them, and how do you make decisions? So that knowledge was incredibly transferable to basically any domain. And then the CDL Advanced Applied course really gave me kind of the experience to work with a deep technical engineering team, which I didn't have before. Work on really cool solutions to cool problems. I actually worked with 3 different startups in AI throughout my program. One was developing like a digital psychiatrist to help diagnose and predict treatment for mental illness. Another one was developing synthetic data for training robots in computer simulations. So really cool stuff. And all 3 startups that I worked with were in the machine learning space, which is what I was interested in. And it gave me hands-on experience in applied machine learning, right? So separate from kind of the hype and all the potential of what machine learning actually is, I was able to work with these teams on actually developing and trying to get these machine learning products to market. And that really gave me kind of an insight into some of the nuances and the complexities of what it takes to actually build those products. And then finally, CDL was incredible for just getting exposure to all of the impressive mentors and being able to absorb some of that knowledge, being able to hear them talk and just understand how they think about some of these problems, hearing about some of the lessons that they've learned from their past successes and failures. That was just incredibly helpful for me. And so in the end, when I graduated, I was able to basically combine this experience from CDL of working with technical engineering teams and working in applied machine learning, and combine that with some of my transferable skills that I've acquired from my previous career as a consultant in terms of structured problem solving, stakeholder management, things like that. And I was able to leverage those to give me an edge in pivoting my career into machine learning product management, which is what I do now. And I'm absolutely confident that I wouldn't have been able to do that without CDL. So.
That's amazing. I'm honestly so happy to see you both here and, thriving and really engaging with your work with learnings from what you got from CDL. And I have to say to the community here that both Yash and Sergey were one of the most proactive students from day one, keen about CDL. And I remember speaking to both of you separately, even before the course. So you all really started investing in learning about the program program even before you got to your end of first year or early second year. That brings me to the point that CDL, at the end of the day, it's you get what you put into it, and that's really the motto that I share with students who are interested in the program. And I guess then the question for you, Yash and Sergey, before we wrap up, is if you had some advice for the folks on the call today, on something that you know now that you didn't maybe back when you were as eager first years, what is it that you'd like to share with them, if they're in terms of them considering applying for the program? Maybe Sergey, you can go first, and then Yash.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, my biggest recommendation is exactly what you just said, Malika, which is you get what you get out of it, what you put into it, right? It's not a course where you can just go in and you're assigned like an assignment, a project to do, and you do the project with your head down and you learn something from it. The way to get the most value out of it is to hustle and to look for opportunities. When you're working with a venture, they don't know what, a lot of them don't know what they're doing, what their next steps should be. So you need to be proactive in helping them figure that out, helping make connections, thinking outside the box, talking to other people. I mentioned I work with 3 different startups. One of those startups was, not even was in the program, but I wasn't matched with them through the program. I just, through the interview process, through the matching process, I kept in touch with the founders and we built some rapport. And then further down in the program, they needed some help and I had some spare time. So I actually ended up working with them on the side as well. So there are tons of opportunities, but it's what you put into it.
I echo Sergey's thoughts too, and I just want to add one more point: is communication is key here. If you're a student matched with this venture, always ensure your communication channels are open with your venture all the time. Like how much commitment you can give per week, because you're not only studying, you're also working, and you'll be also paired with the venture. So make sure your communication channels are always open, fair, honest, and put in your work.
Amazing. Thank you. I think we have one question and time for maybe a quick rapid fire response. So Runj?
Yeah, thanks, Malika. Thanks, Yash and Sergey, for sharing the experience. I just got one question for you. So Sergey, you mentioned you worked with 3 startups, and Yash, you mentioned you worked with 1. I'm just wondering how you were able to manage MBA courses, CDL courses, and then a full-time job. And also, were there any conflicts with your employer, as in working with a third, startup? Did you have any issues of those sort?
Yeah, I can go first. So in terms of conflicts with employers, no. I mean, the startups were in a completely different domain, completely different function. So there was no issues there. I obviously informed my employer, but that wasn't an issue. In terms of personal time commitment, you make some sacrifices. I certainly didn't have a lot of personal time. Like I worked with the startups on basically my all weekend evenings whenever I had time between courses. So it's all about, what you prioritize, I guess.
I think for 32 months as a morning evening MBA student, you will learn prioritization skills. So don't worry, you're in good shape.
Amazing. Thank you.
That's what we often hear. You get a black belt in time management. Anyway, I wanted to say it's so great for me to see your faces as well, Sergey and Yash. It's been so long, and for Malika as well. I really appreciate you spending the time with us here tonight. I know that you are, even now that you're graduated, you're still busy people, and so pleased that you could come back and talk to us tonight. For those of you that are still on with us right now, I wanted to just highlight that tomorrow we have a lot of opportunities for you to talk to current students. We're talking about clubs and all sorts of interesting topics again tomorrow. But I'm so thrilled that you could join, all of you could join us here tonight. Personally, CDL is my favorite lab that we have. Coming from a tech background, it's I kind of geek out a little bit whenever there's a super session in play or what have you. So it's so great to hear more about the sessions from you and to hear actually what has come to fruition since you have graduated and how CDL really helped you in your career. So thank you so much for sharing those stories with us tonight.
We're here.
Thanks for having us.
Appreciate it. Take care all. Stay warm.